Hi, my name's Julia Hall, or Julia Nelly. I'm going to pitch the Women's Soul Soup Collective this evening. So I'm a dance artist and a dance maker and a dance movement psychotherapist working in this area. As a clinical and dance practitioner, I work with both children and adults. Slide 2. So my body is my first language. My body speaks and communicates needs. My body keeps the score of my life and holds body memories of a life and a life of generations before my birth. My body is my work, my creativity, it's how I play. My personal experience as a working class and now older, more mature woman guides my approach to be with, to walk alongside and to witness the stories that emerge through the dance and movement of others. In my work as a dance artist and psychotherapist, I have witnessed how body movement and dance can bring community and transformation when people move and dance together. There's much research from the area of neurobiology that talks about there's an intrinsic link between emotion and motion, so movement. And that there are 8 healing processes when people dance together and people feel a sense of synchrony, self-expression, rhythm, vitalization, integration, cohesion, education and symbolism. And researchers also found that symptoms of depression can be reduced by dancing in groups and an increase in endorphins. In my work, I've witnessed how movement and dance supports well-being both psychologically but also physically. And I think this is more evident as a movement psychotherapist. I'm able to supply and give safety, containment. It's a place of non-judgment. People don't have to wear masks. They come as they are, whoever they are. It's a democracy. Slide 3, please. So women's voices that have informed or inspired this pitched project come from a range of projects. So women's groups, women's wellbeing and mental health services. I've worked in a women's refuge. I've worked with the Freedom Project that's to do with domestic violence. And obviously the underlying research that guides my work. There is a lack of images in my talk because I wasn't able to contact all of the women that were involved in the projects. So I needed their consent. But you will see part of them as we go into another slide. Slide 4, please. This is the other slide. So many of the projects culminated in performances in public spaces. So the women were seen and heard within the public space. So we had workshops in studios. And one of those pieces was called The Movement Choir. And actually this is Winchester Cathedral, a very male-dominated area. And the telling of participants' lived experiences through the body and dance had a positive impact in the present time towards regaining some sense of control through the support of camaraderie. The women were witnessed, visible, heard, validated and not alone. So seen by each other, but also seen by the public. Okay. Oh, actually, go back. Sorry, James. I do need to say that the women are here. You might just be able to see the shoes under the bench. So those are the women's shoes and also shoes from some of the members of the family. Okay, thank you. So the proposed project, in the current socio-political and post-pandemic climate, I've become increasingly aware of who has and who hasn't got access to the healing arts and the presence of powerlessness for women. For some of my work, I am based in a building where a number of activities are offered to the local community, including the presence of a food bank and a food pantry. Whilst working in this specific community building, I have become acutely aware of the presence of women's lived experiences associated with feelings of invisibility, disempowerment, helplessness, loneliness, disconnection from self and others, isolation, and reduced or no opportunities to experience or access the arts, to co-create with others for self-expression and to just generally feel joy. Okay, next one please. So who and where will this happen? I would like to offer free creative movement and dance workshops for well-being for women who use the service of a food bank and a food pantry within the local community. Depending on the numbers, these workshops could also be offered to women who live in the locality. So where will it be? It's a community building in the SO postcode, where a number of activities and support services are offered at a cost or a fee, including a food bank and a food pantry. There are also dance studios, which obviously lends themselves to this project. Next, please. So the aims of this, the Women's Soul Suit Collective, a space for connection with self, so an embodied self, connection with other women, a shared experience, to experience a sense of belonging, to reduce feelings of isolation and loneliness, an opportunity to be creative and playful, visibility, to be seen, heard and witnessed, validation, share in the practice of dance as a democratic process and experience. When we come together and dance, we tend to all wear the same clothes. You don't know where people come from or what class they are. Physical well-being and an increase in endorphins and just joyfulness. Thank you. Next one. So the ingredients for the Soul Suit Collective. So the process of women's journey and what has been co-created in the workshops will be, with consent, made visible through a performance, a film and or photo images for an exhibition here in this space. Next one please. So supportive ingredients for the soup is the bursary. So the funding will go towards the cost of hiring a studio at the community hub, at least 2 hours per week, equipment for methods of recording the process and journeys of the Women's Soul Suit Collective, support for related to mail out, small posters on social media, provision of resources like pens and paper, and the facilitator, so my time to run the workshops and administration. Okay, next one. Thank you so much for listening. I am an older woman and I'm a woman and I come from a working class background, and I think as I get older I become more and more invisible. So I'm an advocate here for the women that I want to work with, but I'm kind of an advocate for myself as well here. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to pitch my project. Thank you.